This is USVI News, your Virgin Islands connection.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for USVI News. I'm Emily Matson. We begin with the very latest on COVID-19 here in the territory. Government House and the Department of Health provide an update on the current situation here. And while there is better news with the number of cases, the numbers are still high. Our USVI News' Ali Bourne-Vinek has more and a difficult update on COVID deaths.
Emily, the number of COVID cases in the territory have gone down to 261, but very and extremely sadly, the number of deaths have gone up. In this last week, there have been 9 more deaths due to COVID-19, according to the Department of Health. They send their condolences to the families, and we certainly do so as well.
A week ago, we reported 41 fatalities. However, there have been 50 fatalities total as of yesterday. We've lost 9 more community members to complications from COVID-19. The most recent person was a 64-year-old female on St. Thomas. None of the people that died were fully vaccinated. With each death, I am saddened. We can prevent more deaths by using the best tool we have against the virus, the COVID-19 vaccine. Commissioner Encarnacion and I would like to extend our deepest condolences on behalf of the Health Department to the family and friends that have lost loved ones to COVID-19. We must all continue to do our part to reduce community spread and spread among close contacts.
We ought to be very concerned about the well-being and the health of our healthcare workers. These are the people who take care of the sick. And many times they're not top of mind as we decide whether we're going to take a vaccine, whether we have a personal choice to do so, whether we're going to move in our community knowing that we are COVID positive, knowing that we're not choosing to follow social distancing or the hygiene protocols. Keep in mind that these people who take care of the sick can also be sick, and they're not always going to be there available to take care of us. If we have the unfortunate experience of having to need their care in our hospitals.
The Department of Health has extended hours for COVID testing throughout the territory, and again, they are encouraging everyone to get the vaccine. In St. Thomas, Ali Bourne-Vinek, USVI News.
And it's not just here. Nationwide, health officials say there is now a pandemic of the unvaccinated. However, there is hope the FDA's formal approval of the Pfizer vaccine will convince more Americans to get the shots.
With Monday's full approval for the Pfizer vaccine, medical experts around the country are hoping the nod from the FDA will move the needle when it comes to COVID vaccine rates.
We know that some people have been waiting for this next step to be complete before they choose to get vaccinated. And if that's you, the time to get vaccinated is now.
And add to the mounting pressure from the public and private sectors. United Airlines and the Pentagon, the latest to announce vaccine requirements, as the AMA puts its medical might behind mandates in a statement saying now is the time for the public and private sectors to come together, listen to the science, and mandate vaccination.
We're already seeing a slew of organizations starting to require it. I think that this is going to be a trend, and it's going to be a good trend.
Even before the FDA announcement, a glimmer of hope.
Nationwide, we've gotten a total of 6 million shots in arms in the last 7 days. That's the highest 7-day total in over a month and a half.
A trend many hope will combat another frightening one, the surge in pediatric COVID cases, more than 180,000 in the last week.
I think it's a combination of both kids going back to school, but also this variant is a lot more transmissible, and you're going to end up in that situation where there are going to be a lot of kids getting infected.
As students, many ineligible for the vaccine, head back to in-person classes.
And of course, while kids are going back to in-person learning in many states, here in the VI, students have returned to school virtually. As more cruise ships call here in the territory, the CDC is updating its guidance. The CDC says people who may be at risk for severe illness from COVID-19 should not go on a cruise, regardless of their vaccination status. The agency says the chance of getting COVID-19 on a cruise ship is high and outbreaks have been reported. That means people with underlying medical conditions, pregnant women, or the elderly should avoid cruises at this time, even if they are vaccinated. The The CDC also recommends cruisers get tested 1 to 3 days before and 3 to 5 days after the trip, regardless of vaccination status. Again, the agency warns that people who are not fully vaccinated should not go on a cruise also, but if they do, they should self-quarantine for 7 days after travel and get tested. And continuing our coverage on the cruise industry, a 77-year-old woman has now died from COVID-19 after testing positive while sailing on a Carnival cruise to Belize. Her death marks the first reported death since cruises restarted in the Caribbean and the United States back in June. We are well into hurricane season, as you know, and here in the VI, we know firsthand the damage these storms can cause, as evidenced by the rebuilding still underway years after Hurricane Maria hit the territory. But there are ways to protect homes before the disaster strikes. Take a look.
As we know, here in the Caribbean, hurricane force winds can rip a home apart. Researchers at the Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety set up a massive lab to run this test. Last year's Atlantic hurricane season saw a record 30 named storms, including Hurricane Sally, which led to $60 billion in damage. But Matt Fettner's Orange Beach, Alabama home was mostly unscathed.
Standing in my front yard, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new roofs in the cul-de-sac we live in. Ours is the only roof that made it through that storm.
His roof is fortified. The shingles are secured with special nails, and underneath there's an extra water barrier. The IBHS says its fortified roof standard, seen here on the right, is now on some 14,000 homes nationwide.
It's as if Mother Nature, through climate change, has busted through the front door of American families.
IBHS President and CEO Roy White says homeowners threatened by wildfires can also take action. This demonstration shows embers hitting a house. The right has a 5-foot gravel bed. The other, with wood mulch, ignites, spreading flames to the wood shingles siding. In Northern California's Marin County, inspectors go door to door looking for hazards like this juniper plant next to the house.
Juniper in general is just flammable. It goes up like a torch.
IBHS found clearing vegetation can double a home's chance of surviving a fire. So how should homeowners landscape around their homes?
For 5 feet all the way around, it should be non-combustible.
Simple steps that can save a home from disaster.
The U.S. government says there were 22 weather and climate-related disasters last year, which caused at least $1 billion in damages. Tokyo residents Tuesday morning had their cameras to the sky as Japan's Air Self-Defense Force aerobatics team soared a display ahead of the Paralympic Games. Check it out. The jets flew over the Japanese capital, releasing smoke in the colors of the Olympic rings ahead of the Games opening ceremony, which kicks off Tuesday night at Tokyo's Olympic Stadium. Planners of the Paralympics recently agreed to hold the Games for the most part without spectators, much like the same measures taken at the Olympic Games.